Have you ever played a game you felt was made for you? Like it hits so many aspects of your life interests that you could swear the developers were inside your brain when they made it and made the game specifically for you? That's what I felt like playing Indiana Jones and the Great Circle. And I'm not talking about accessibility. Let me explain. Hi, I'm Steve Saylor. I'm blind and I play video games. If you're wondering how and what I can see when I'm playing video games, click the video here or in the description below. Also hit the like and subscribe button too. Thanks. I was very trepidatious about Indiana Jones and the Great Circle. Based on the trailers and gameplay, first looks, I couldn't tell what the game was supposed to be. Was it a first-person shooter? Was it an adventure game? A puzzle game? What was it? Was this game even needed, as the games that Indiana Jones inspired were already released and were great, like the Uncharted series and Tomb Raider? Also, I didn't know what the accessibility was going to be like. Would I even be able to play it? Machine Games was not known for its accessibility in the past, and Bethesda has a so-so track record when we get an accessible experience in Hi-Fi Rush and Deathloop 1 minute, and a Doom Eternal or Starfield the next. But there is something about the wonder of Indiana Jones that just turns you into a kid watching those movies and trying to find a fedora and a whip of your own, and also try not to hit your brother with it while you search for ancient treasures that belongs in a museum.
That belongs in a museum.
Let's talk accessibility for a minute, as I want to review that in this video as well as talking about my experience. I was honestly surprised at what we received from Machine Games as far as accessibility goes. There are glaring missing features like a screen reader or audio navigational assistance, but there are other features that I didn't expect, such as a large UI font, an extensive high contrast mode, full captions, aim assist, quite a few toggle and hold options, and remappable controls. It's not perfect by any means, but if these highlights are starting to become standard accessibility in games, this is a great start on Machine Games' accessibility journey, especially considering their past in making fun of people who chose the easy mode in Wolfenstein New Order, calling it "Can I Play Daddy?" They've definitely come a long way since then. Like I said, it isn't a perfect game. The colorblind filter options were not a great choice to include. The reason being is that colorblind filters don't really help in fixing colorblind issues. It just highlights what's wrong with the user experience and that it could have been designed without color in mind instead of relying on it. This is a general issue with games and not an isolated Indiana Jones problem, just to let you know. But the industry should do away with colorblind filters altogether, in my opinion, and focus on designing without reliance on color, or allow players to change colors to whichever works best for them. There are also many times I had trouble with the musical cues or sound effects. Sometimes the sound effects were too quiet, like when it tells you you could take a picture, the volume is a little too subtle, and the icon that shows up on screen is a little small and hard to see. And also, an unfortunate for anyone on the blind spectrum is that there are a lot of times where characters will be speaking in a foreign language, and the only way to know what they're saying is by reading the subtitles. Unfortunately, if you can't read the largest subtitle text size, you're going to have many moments where you're going to be lost and missing out on story exposition, because there are times that up to sometimes 5 minutes, there are cinematics where it's just foreign language speaking people, and that was hard for me to even keep up with, so keep that in mind.
Ho accettato di mostrarvi la sala del tesoro segreta, ma non si può prendere niente.
Mio vecchio caro amico, non vorrete certo deludermi, vero?
Oh, this game could also do with an arachnophobia mode, or even a creepy crawly phobia mode, as there are many of those in this game. Without spoiling anything, I understand why it doesn't, but fair warning, this game has spiders, snakes, and scorpions. I think the highlight for me accessibility-wise was the high contrast mode options. Not only can you adjust whether to have a full color tint on characters and interactable objects, but you can choose between a color tint or a color outline. You can also adjust the intensity of those colors, which I did because I felt the full default color took away the details on NPC faces, and I wanted to tell what emotions they were emoting in their face, and you can't see that under a shade of blue. But also, every item you can interact with has a tint or a color outline. You can change the color of those items, and there are many color options to choose from. From notes to weapons, you can change any of those colors. And boy, in a game where you are solving puzzles and exploring ancient tombs that high contrast mode definitely came in handy, especially in those dark areas. Sometimes I did feel like it did solve some puzzles for me, but there was always something visually that if you turn high contrast off, if you don't need it, it shouldn't be a problem mostly. So overall, the accessibility, while not great, it's definitely not bad. And I'd probably give it a 2.5, almost leaning to a 3 out of 5 on my review scale. But let me also touch on why The Great Circle felt like it was made for me and why I had an amazing personal experience with this game. There will be some spoilers ahead, so if you don't want to get spoiled on anything, you can totally come back to this later when you play the game. If so, thanks for watching and make sure to like and subscribe. I have no idea if other reviewers will feel the same way that I do, but I felt like that this was probably the best depiction of Indiana Jones, or the closest you can get to the original trilogy of films as you can. I truly felt like Indiana Jones in this game, but I also felt like I was watching a new Indiana Jones movie at the same time. It was cinematic and immersive, all at the same time, which is the beauty of video games can provide. I love adventure stories. When I was a kid, I remember writing many a short story in school about an archaeologist discovering hidden treasures from the past after only watching just a little bit of Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade. I had a fascination of exploring the world and finding hidden treasures in temples, tombs, or sealed caves that haven't been touched in centuries. So I was fascinated with history, from the American Revolution to ancient Egypt to even the secrets of the Catholic Church, which was always fascinating me while growing up, Christian but not Catholic. The idea of entering a centuries-old church like the Sistine Chapel and potentially finding one of Michelangelo's paintbrushes in a secret compartment somewhere sent my imagination soaring. This didn't happen in the game, by the way, but you get the idea. I even went so far down the rabbit hole that when I was in grade 6, where I would read books from the library about ancient Egypt and learning stuff about how the pyramids were built and what was included in tombs to usher a pharaoh into the afterlife. It even went so far that my grade 6 teacher turned our whole classroom into an Egypt museum, and my job was, with the help of some friends, to build a sarcophagus out of paper mache and wire, and I would dress up as an archaeologist, and my teacher would bring in the younger kids in our school on a museum tour, and I would teach those kids about the history of the burial practices of the kings and queens of Egypt. Yes, this is how deep I went. I think I even remember a time when I would be asked, what do you want to be when you grow up? And I said, archaeologist. This is what I mean when this shit went deep. Then as years went by, I changed interests, moved on from those fantasies, and even for a time, haven't had an interest in watching any of the Indiana Jones movies. But also, that was warranted once Indy survived a nuclear blast inside a fridge. It's not exact, but I think you get the idea. I lost my sense of adventure. Even playing games that would spark that sense again, like playing as Nathan Drake in Uncharted or Lara Croft in Tomb Raider, I never truly regressed and felt like a kid playing those games. I enjoyed them, sure, they are amazing games, but I would play them and move on. Indiana Jones and the Great Circle rekindled that spark, and honestly, this was one of my favorite gaming experiences this year. Without spoiling it too much, the first 2 places you go to and get to explore the sandbox Machine Games built made me feel like I was a child again, seeing through the eyes of my favorite adventurer. From the depths of the Vatican to the underground caverns of the Great Pyramids of Giza, uncovering secrets once lost for centuries, or unlock a conspiracy of an ancient order that had ruled the world behind the scenes that no one knew about. This game allowed me to search through hidden passageways, photograph wall etchings, and locate artifacts or stone tablets that were once lost to time, all while stealthily sneaking around fascists or Nazis that I would get to crack my whip to knock a gun out of their hands and then punch them in the face, and felt good every single time I did it. I know this isn't new in games. We've had a ton of adventure stories that are similar to this, and more than likely, other reviewers will say the same thing about this game. The puzzle and exploration gameplay have been done in other games before that may be even better than this one, and I get it. I share that sentiment a little bit too, but this game, I felt like a kid again playing it. I felt like the game was made for me. I will freely admit, I still haven't finished this game. I have spent about 11 to 13 hours just in the first 2 areas alone. Sometimes just even staring at the locations in awe. I couldn't believe I was experiencing this in a video game. I felt like I was there. I felt like I fulfilled a promise to my younger self that while I didn't get to grow up to be an actual archaeologist, I got to live out my fantasies of being the most famous one.